So, as I said, in Ephesians chapter 4, Paul changes the analogy from the analogy of a temple and a family to the analogy of a human body. He does it for two purposes. The first purpose is he wants to make it more intimate, more sensitive, deep, more profound. He wants to emphasize the aspect of mutuality, the mutual faithfulness between the members of the body, between the people in the church, between the sons and daughters of God. He wants to emphasize the aspect that when one person in the body is affected, the whole body is affected. When one person does something wrong to another person in the body, the whole body is affected. So if somebody inside the body is going through some trouble, the whole body, in a sense, is facing that trouble. As I said before, Paul wants to make it more intimate, more personal, more sensitive, and emphasize the aspect of mutuality, which would not happen if he does the analogy of a temple in which there are stones which are placed near each other. No stones, even if they are alive, would have any need for mutual faithfulness or interaction. But in a body, that's not how things function. Every member is connected to every other member, and the suffering of one member affects the whole body. So if any member in the church steals something from some other member, he is stealing against himself, in a sense, and he is doing the sin against himself and against the whole body. So if any member in the body gets angry, keeps bitterness, holds on to rage, and does something evil, malicious, or cruel to somebody else in the body, they are not doing it to some other person, they are doing it to themselves, in a sense, and they are doing it to affect the whole body. That's why Paul recommends that people need to be kind to each other, show compassion to each other, and not steal from each other, rather work hard, earn money, and protect each other. Again, he emphasizes the requirement of generosity. He says that just like how each body part treats the other body part with generosity, you ought to treat each other with generosity instead of becoming greedy for more and more. So, the list of virtue and vices is not only, in a sense, turned on its head, it is also made to seem more and more intimate and, and punchy or pricky. So it's not just that he is using the Greek virtue and vice lists or that paradigm, and then creating his own virtues and vices, and then he is contrasting with each other, the virtue against vice, like he places forgiveness, mercy, compassion against anger, bitterness, cruelty, and he puts greed against generosity, stealing against working hard and meeting the need of the whole body. Not only does he do these things, like contrasting virtues and vices, as I said before, he has completely changed the virtue and vices. Whatever was virtuous for Romans and Greeks, like valor and anger and revenge, has been turned into a vice. And whatever was considered to be a vice or something that was not a good thing, like forgiveness and kindness and mercy and compassion, it has become a great thing. Again, to make it more personal and intimate and pricky and punchy, so that it affects the sensitivities of the people who are hearing his letter, so that they would pay more attention, more closer attention to whatever they are doing, how they are behaving. He has put this whole thing of virtue and vices in the context of an analogy of a body, a human body. Now here we know that the body refers to Christ's body. So he is not just taking any human body, he is saying this is the body of Christ. Now Christ, we know, he came in human physical form. So when the Bible portrays Jesus Christ's pain upon the cross and suffering upon the cross, it is a pain and suffering of a human being with all the emotional element, with all the sensitivity that it carries. So when Paul says that you are acting against the body of Christ, and we put Jesus' real physical body there, this becomes even more sensitive a matter. It becomes even more critical, vital, and it requires responsible response. It requires people to be very responsible towards how they behave within this family, within this temple, within this body, the body of Christ. So here the mention of body should not be taken in the sense of organizations as body. Today we call organizations as body. So if we say that there is an organization, it has a head and it has people who are working under that person who is the top leader, and there are hierarchies under him, we would completely miss the point. It is not about this organizational setup, although it is there. Now we are getting into that aspect. That is why I mentioned it towards the end. So it is not just about the organizational aspect where there is a head and there are more vital and more responsible and more significant people in the leadership, and then come less significant people, in a sense, who have lesser responsibilities and perhaps more rights in this particular kind of society. But this body is a living, organic person. It is Jesus' own physical body, in a sense. So when he puts this body, he takes this body analogy, as I said before, he wants to make it more intimate, more mutual, more sensitive, more pricky, more punchy, and make those people who are listening, hearing, more faithful in their response towards their responsibility to the other in this body. So they are not just responsible towards the head, like head is Christ, of course. They are responsible towards each other also in a very significant manner. Because if one body part hurts, all other body parts hurt. It is the body's hurt. It is the Christ of God, the Son of God, who is being hurt again. It's a kind of crucifying Jesus all over again. And that is the greatest sin possible, because